Entre pa' que te enteres, este es el detalle. Si caliente está la cera, más caliente está la calle.
Mira, llegó el son cubano.
Hola mi gente and welcome back to the We Are Investing channel, a channel that is dedicated in investing and personal finance. On this video, we are going to be doing a stock update on AMC stock. You guys know that we are holding the line when it comes to AMC. We opened up a position in this company, in this stock, in early October with some out-of-the-money option calls. And since then, those calls have been booming. We are up massive amounts in AMC stock. But I think this is just the beginning. This is going to be a very interesting week for this stock. I am completely sure of that. I am very excited to see what's going to happen. I think the stock is going to go up, and I think it's going to go up by a pretty decent amount. Now, if you want to be notified when we get into other trades like we did for AMC and Gamestop early on, you have to join the Patreon because I post whenever I open or close a position on the Patreon. You also get early access to videos. I upload them to the Patreon first, and you also get access to a Discord server of around 300 members right now, but it is growing and we talk stocks on the daily. Now on this video, I want to talk about three things. I want to talk about the price activity for AMC stock last week. We're going to dive into what happened last week just for a quick minute. Then we're going to talk about the short squeeze possibility with this stock. And then we'll wrap up the video with a gamma squeeze possibility with AMC stock and where I think the stock could go and what could happen with AMC stock in the following weeks, especially this week. So the first thing is the price activity. And the stock dropped off of news that Robinhood was prohibiting buying on their platform for AMC stock and other companies. And then on Friday, they said you could buy, but a limited amount. And this is trickling into next week as well. Monday, there's going to be limited amounts of shares that you can buy in AMC stock. Now, what do you think is going to happen when a brokerage doesn't allow buying of a stock, but it allows selling? There's going to be downward pressure on that stock, and the share price dropped off of that news, despite what the media is telling you, saying that the tables have turned and that the stocks got too high and retail investors are going to lose their money. And also what Robinhood is telling you as well, that they did this to protect their investors. That is a load of crap. What they've done is illegal, and I think everybody knows that. But I think the key thing to take away from all of that is that there is still a lot of demand. There is still a lot of buyers for AMC stock. And if people want to buy a stock, that means the stock is going to increase in share price. Stocks fundamentally, they are valued on what somebody is willing to pay for them. And if there's a lot of investors that want to buy the stock and are willing to pay to buy the stock at the current price, that means that the share price is going to go up. So that is what I foresee in this upcoming week, even though there is a limited amount of buying activity from Robinhood. So my recommendation to everyone, based off of this news, and also news that happened before when Robinhood crashed on key days, is to leave the platform. If you know what you're doing and you're serious about investing or trading, you are past your beginner stages where you don't need a super easy user interface, go somewhere else so that you have a better chance of making money. Because Robinhood is limiting your capabilities and it's also selling your data to big funds. That is how Robinhood gets paid, through payment for order flow. It sends your data to these big funds. They can act on that data milliseconds before your order is executed and make money off of your trades essentially. So you're helping these hedge funds make money when you use a platform like Robinhood. Moving on to topic number 2, the short squeeze possibility when it comes to AMC stock. Now, we got into this position in early October, and this was based off a website called highshortstocks.com. I believe that's the name of the website. And AMC was listed as number 2 with 70%, around 70% of the float shorted. Now that number is no longer the case. This website does a horrible job in updating the data. That number is actually lower now. However, it's still a high number of short interest. If you look at data last recorded on January 15th, there were 44.67 million shares shorted, and the previous short volume was 38.9 million. That means that there was an increase in shorts. Now the outstanding shares was 52 million, and that has increased because an offering in AMC stock. However, 44 million of 52 million shares is a high percentage. And even off of the current float, which is around 100 million shares for AMC stock, this is still a high short interest stock. And if you actually take a look at the short volume, people are still shorting AMC stock. If you look at the data here, you can see that the short volume ratio on January 26th was around 12%. On January 27th, when the squeeze was starting to happen, that dropped to 4.96%. Then we had the Robinhood fiasco, but then on Friday, the 29th, short volume increased a lot and it went up to close to 25%. The short volume was 147 million shares. So people are still shorting AMC stock. And as the price continues to increase, we're probably going to see more shorts. Now, it's one thing to see an increase in short volume. It's also another thing to see an increase in short volume when the fee is at a very high percentage. If you take a look at this data, the fee as of January 28th was 21.9%. That is a very high fee. If you take a look at the website, I mean, it's been 21.9% since the 27th, but I can guarantee you before that, it was much less. It's costing more to short a stock because of the short squeeze that is occurring, the volatility. It is a risky thing, so the fee is increased. And just so you guys understand how high a short volume of 25% is on a given day, if you go to a website like Fintel, you can scan for high short volume. You can scan for stocks that have short volume over 25%. And on January 29th, we saw 6 stocks that had short volume interest higher than 25%. Now, AMC is not on this list because they were just under 25% in the high 24s. But there were only 6 companies higher than AMC. So that should go to show you that the short volume was still very high for a stock that had a run up and is also a potential short squeeze candidate from a lot of retail investors. So I actually find it interesting that people are still shorting AMC stock. I mean, I kind of get it. As the share price continues to increase, it's likely that it's overvalued and the share price is going to drop. It's how long do you want to hold those shorts? Are you going to get squeezed out of your position and have to cover at a higher share price? Because that could happen here. That is a possibility. A lot of people are looking at these stocks to short them. So in short, I definitely think that there is a short squeeze possibility with AMC stock. That is why I got into this company in October, and I still believe this to be the case, even though with the whole fiasco that we had last week when the share price decreased, I think some shorts covered. However, people are still shorting the stock, so there is still a short squeeze possibility in my personal opinion. Now, this is also going to play into the gamma squeeze and what hedge funds might be doing right now and why this also could lead to an increase in the share price. Now, to try to explain how a gamma squeeze occurs, we need to talk about options, and we're going to talk about call options. When people buy out of the money call options, there has to be a net neutrality in the market. The market maker needs to basically hedge that because the market maker wants the market to be neutral. So when somebody places an out-of-the-money call option, the market maker will look to buy 100 shares to cover that call option because somebody is going to have to give 100 shares to the out-of-the-money call options if it expires in the money. So gamma is a Greek for the options, and so is delta. And gamma increases as a call approaches the strike price. Then the market maker looks to buy 100 shares to cover that call option. And when they buy 100 shares, that also increases the share price. So if you have out of the money call options and the share price increases, then you get a little bit of a gamma squeeze because market makers buy 100 shares to cover those calls. So that increases the share price a little bit as well. And then if you add in a short squeeze on top of that, because you have upward pressure from just people trading the stock, increasing the price, then you have out of the money call options, and then you get a gamma squeeze, which also increases the price. That puts pressure on the shorts, then they cover, and that also increases the price. So you have three factors here. You have investors, traders, just regular investors and traders driving the share price up, then a gamma squeeze, and then a short squeeze following that. Those are the three factors at play here when it comes to AMC stock. And now let's take a look at some options and out of the money options and what could happen if we reach those values. Now, if you look at the out of the money option calls for AMC for this week, you can see on the volume side for the $40 strike price, there's a volume of 46,943 options. At the $30 strike price, a volume of 8,000. So what a lot of people are betting on with AMC stock is that the share price is going to increase a lot. We're going to hit $30 a share and potentially $40 a share. If we hit those values close to the end of the week, market makers are going to look to cover those calls by buying 100 shares. And then that is also going to increase the share price for AMC. And all those shorts that are buying in or have been in this stock, there's high short interest for AMC, then they might cover. Now, one of the reasons why there might be such high volume for these out of the money calls, and this is actually something that I think people do not realize, is that when a hedge fund shorts a stock, they hedge that short by buying call options that are out of the money. So if the share price does increase, they can get money off of their call options that is going to help offset the loss from the short. However, they can play this very well. If the share price increases and their out of the money call options make the money, they are not forced to sell their short position. So they can ride the wave up, and if the wave up doesn't continue going up, then they made money on their call options. The share price starts to fall and they're going to make money on their shorts as well. So they can double down and they can actually make more money off of this if the share price does not continue to go up and squeeze them like a true squeeze without including their hedge. And I believe that the high volume in the call options, some of that is going to be from hedge funds hedging their short positions. But if the price just continues to go up, we got gamma squeeze, and then we're at a point where the shorts are forced to cover because they can no longer sustain the loss. That is where you then get the short squeeze and see a huge increase in the share price. Now that, of course, is if these hedge funds are hedging their shorts by buying out of the money call options. So in my personal opinion, guys, and that pretty much wraps it up for this video, I think that this is going to be a very interesting week for AMC stock. There are possibilities here that are going to drive the share price up. I think that this is a momentum trade that also has a possibility for a gamma squeeze and also a short squeeze. There are three factors here at play that I think are beneficial to investors and traders, and that is why I think it's worth the risk. But anyways, guys, that wraps it up for this video. If you liked it, please consider returning the favor by hitting that subscribe button, ringing that bell, and smashing that like button. Do not forget about the Patreon page where you get to follow the portfolio in real time. You get access to a Discord server of over 300 members and early access to the videos. Also down below in the video description is a link to my Twitter. I am being active on there as well, a Facebook group, and promotional links to Webull. Now that wraps it up. You know the deal. It's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, and this is We Are Investing, and together we are invincible. See ya!